Manx Radio's Update with Beth Espy.
Well, first of all, good afternoon. Welcome to Update here on Manx Radio, where we'll take you through some of the main news stories of the day before 5:30. So coming up in the next half hour, what does the latest national income report really reveal about the state of the Isle of Man's economy? Also tonight, is Christmas delivering cheer for Peel's businesses, or are traders feeling the pinch this festive season? Also, a much-loved part of the motorsport community could be under threat as the Manx Grand Prix Supporters Club faces the possibility of closing its doors. We'll hear what's behind that decision. And while Christmas is not the ideal time to be in hospital, there is some festive magic on Children's Ward at Nobles, thanks to a company from Wigan. We'll have that, the traffic and the travel as well. And if you'd like to get in touch, you can text 166 177. We'll start with a roundup of the main news headlines with Darren Fastamai.
And starting with part of the main route between Peel and Douglas will be closed for several hours tomorrow, as so the Department of Infrastructure can fell some dangerous trees adjacent to Greeba Castle. In other news, traders in the west of the island say they're facing a challenging run up to Christmas.
The difficulties we have is inconsistency. We can have some days where it's flat out non-stop, other days where it's completely dead. So it's just the juggling of what hours we have and bits like that.
A lack of parking in the town, along with the growing difficulty of competing with online shopping, has been blamed for quieter trade. And the Justice and Home Affairs Minister says a targeted and increasingly intelligence-led approach to security will help keep the island safe when the number of sailings between here and Ireland increase. Jane Poole-Wilson gave the assurance that security arrangements at Irish and Northern Irish ports have been strengthened in recent years. To international news, the former owner of Chelsea Football Club is being given a final chance to send the money he made from selling the club to Ukraine. More than £2.5 billion has been frozen since Roman Abramovich was forced to sell up in 2022 when Russia's full-scale invasion began. Sir Keir Starmer had this message for the billionaire.
Honour the commitment that you made and pay up now. And if you don't, we're prepared to go to court so every penny reaches those whose lives have been torn apart by Putin's illegal war.
A paid hitman has been jailed for at least 26 years for shooting dead a man outside a pub in Edinburgh. 34-year-old Grant Hunter killed Mark Webley in Granton on Hogmanay in 2023. And the provider of the technology to detect catches in the Ashes has admitted a significant mistake on day one of the third test. Australia's Alex Carey, who scored 106, edged a ball to England wicketkeeper Jamie Smith when he was on 72, but was given not out on review. Those are the headlines. I'll be back with the news at 6.
Thank you very much indeed, Darren. Now the weather brought to you by Manx Glass and Glazing. So that rain is going to die out later this evening. Still, though, those strong southwest winds. At first, then overnight, it will be dry, and at first tomorrow as well. But the rain will arrive back again late morning. It will be heavy for a time, clearing away during the evening. Fresh to strong winds again. They'll turn to the west as the rain clears. Best temperatures tomorrow will be around 11. And then just looking ahead to Friday, sunny intervals, isolated showers again, strong winds, top temperatures around 11 again. Sunset this evening was at 3:56. Sunrise tomorrow morning 8:33.
Manx Glass and Glazing can supply and install single, double and triple glazing. Call 674 573 or visit the showroom on the Snugborough Trading Estate.
Cruise Bereavement Support Isle of Man offers free and confidential support for anyone grieving, but we can't do it alone. Donate 10 to Cruise and your £10 will help children, young people and adults. Go to cruise.org.im to make a donation.
Visit SMS Trading at 3 St Paul's Square, Ramsey. For flat pack to fully built, new or second-hand furniture, SMS Trading offer all island delivery and man in a van service. Call 315151 or find SMS Trading on Facebook.
At Begode Cattery, we have been caring for animals for over 50 years. As a cattery, we care for customers' cats and treat them as our own. Contact Begode Cattery on 676 947 or find Begode Cattery on Facebook.
Craving authentic Filipino flavours? Visit Casalo Filipino Cuisine. We cook with love and passion. Open Tuesday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eat in or take away. 66 Box Road, Douglas, or call 333
You're listening to the Isle of Man's quintessential daily news and current affairs roundup. Update on Manx Radio.
Now, new figures suggest the Isle of Man's economy is facing its most sustained downturn since the pandemic. Christian has been looking through the latest national income report. Fastamai, Christian, What do these latest figures show then?
Yeah, first to my Beth. Well, the headline point is that the island's economy has now shrunk in real terms for a second consecutive year. Inflation-adjusted GDP, otherwise known as real terms GDP, that fell by 5% in 2022 to 23, followed by another 2.5% fall in 23-24, which means the island actually meets the technical definition of a recession based on annual data.
But yet we hear very often the Isle of Man has a very strong economy. So how do those two things sit together then?
Yeah, so in cash terms, output is still high, largely because of financial and professional services. Insurance alone generated just under £1 billion last year and remains the single biggest sector. But when you strip out inflation, overall real activity is actually falling.
So which parts of the economy are being hit hardest then?
Domestic-facing sectors have seen the biggest losses. Construction output fell by around 12%. Transport and communications, that dropped by more than a quarter. And ICT actually recorded a fall of nearly 40%, which actually outweighed growth elsewhere.
And what's the government response to this?
So we're expecting to speak with the Treasury Minister tomorrow. We've been given a date and time, but Treasury has issued a statement and says, quote, work is ongoing through the island plan to support key sectors and enable long-term growth.
Thank you very much indeed, Christian. You can find out more details as ever on the Manx Radio website. 6.5 minutes past 5 now. Well, a court judgment has found that a man can attempt to claim for damages against the Department of Health and Social Care, despite an application from the department to have the case thrown out. However, he must amend the particulars of the claim before a decision can be made, as Siobhan Fletcher reports.
The man, whose identity has been anonymised in the document and is referred to instead as Claimant A, alleges he suffered personal injuries in 2013 due to breaches of duty of the DHSC's staff when providing him with respite care in its facility at Hollydean on Glencutchery Road in Douglas. Claimant A, who's now 30 years old, has had cerebral palsy and learning difficulties since birth. It's alleged that the claimant's ill treatment by staff at Hollydean, particularly during a 2-night respite stay between the 27th and the 29th of June 2013, when he was 18 years old, resulted in him suffering post-traumatic stress disorder. The DHSC dispute this and lodged an application on the 29th of July this year, stating that the claimant had no real prospect of succeeding on the claim and that there was no compelling reason why the case should be disposed of at trial. But in his decision, Dean Sir John Needham said the case should go ahead despite the delays. He's caveated his decision with instructions to the claimant to file a more detailed claim.
Siobhan Fletcher reporting there. 7 minutes past 5 now. And traders in the west of the island say it's difficult for any new businesses to get off the ground over there. A lack of parking in the town, along with the growing difficulty of competing with online shopping and larger brand names, have been blamed for a quieter festive period. There are lots of empty premises along Michael Street in Peel in particular, and these businesses have been sharing their experiences with us.
Ian Mitchell, steady, keep going as best we can, yes, yeah. Well, but what the customers want, we'll try and get. But the same as last year, I think, yes, yeah. Got a lot of people goes on online shopping, you know, there's a bigger variety of what they want. Yeah.
And do you find that that's an issue to try and get through?
It is very much so, yes, yeah.
What's Peel High Street like? And I suppose because you've been here for so long, how much has it changed in the time that you've been here?
Well, it has changed a lot because a lot of the shops closing and nobody taking new business on these days. But we keep pressing on, keep pressing on.
So the message from you really is to go and support your local shop?
Everybody, yes, every time. Support the locals, please. Yes, yeah.
I'm Chris Walton from Celtic Gold. Christmas trade's been really good for us. We're very fortunate to have a website. We're very fortunate to have our usual customers, and we've built up a base over just under 30 years now.
Do you think that name and that reputation that you've built up has been really helpful to making sure that you're still busy?
Yeah, especially in the Isle of Man, it's word of mouth and keep doing good work, keeping people happy. It's super hard for new businesses to start in Michael Street. I don't think they get much support. It's not a very welcoming street. Also, there's just the financial situation at the moment for everyone is super hard. I think it's businesses that actually want to take the punt on Michael Street at the moment. You know, it's a big risk. The footfall's not what it is in Douglas. You're going to spend a lot of money until you get a name for yourself. It's really hard. Another issue is parking in Peel. You know, Peel is just not accessible to anybody, and it's just not welcoming for anyone. or families.
I'm Jack Griffiths and I own GG Bakery, which is on Michael Street. So it's been not too bad at Christmas. The difficulty we have is inconsistency. We can have some days where it's flat out non-stop, other days where it's completely dead. So it's just the juggling of what hours we have and bits like that. So it's been okay. We do struggle with the bigger companies coming in and feels like a monopoly over certain sales, which we do struggle with. But in a general, the community do support us. It's just getting everyone of the community to come and support us.
And what do you think would improve that and really make a difference for it?
I think, again, it's that saying of supporting local, and it is use it or lose it. And I don't think any of us want to get to that point where you walk down Michael Street and it is a complete ghost town. I mean, it's quiet at the moment, but what we don't want to see is every shop being empty and for nowhere to go. We like to support local, keep everything within our community, and then we can all benefit from it, really.
That's some of the businesses in Peel talking to Amy there. You can find the full report on the Manx Radio website. And we have approached Peel Town Commissioners for comment. They weren't ready to respond fully, but they did have a much more positive outlook for the future of retail in the city, it should be said. They say a traders association has now been set up. There are a number of recent successes, they say, that can be celebrated, and also some other projects being worked on. So they're working on a full response for us, and we will bring that to you as soon as we get it.
The union will hold off on proceeding with any formal industrial action while we continue meaningful discussions. Therefore, at this time, there should be no consequences to users of public transport. In the event of any industrial action, the potential consequences for customers will not be fully known until the level of action taken, if any, is notified and communicated to the department in a formal notification following the procedure set out in the Trade Union Act of 1991. The department routinely has contingency plans and will aim to take appropriate actions to minimise any impact on service users in the event of any actions being taken. Our priority will be to maintain essential services, including health services, school transport and commuter routes during peak periods. The department would ensure that passengers are notified of any planned action as early as possible through social media channels and local media, along with information boards at main bus stops. So I'd like to reassure everyone that they may go out, use our excellent hospitality venues and take the bus home. My understanding is that most of the bus drivers are actually Unite members, so it is Unite that have been leading on these negotiations with the department. As far as I know at the moment, no, the buses will not be affected over Christmas. There was a ballot. The union and the department have been back into talks about how to take things forward, and at the moment we have not been notified of any strike action. We'd have to have 7 days notice anyway, and so as we get closer to that point, there isn't scope for the union to notify us that there will be any action. At the moment they are agreeing that we are talking about what the future is, and we're busy negotiating on their pay and conditions.
That 7 days doesn't include New Year, of course. That's a very important time for people.
I can't predict as far as that yet, but I don't anticipate.
You can't put to the unions. Can you guarantee up until the beginning of next year?
I've not asked the unions to guarantee anything at the moment. The unions are busy considering what their next move is. The department has made them a formal offer, and so the unions are considering that at the moment, and I don't anticipate they will take any action whilst that consideration is underway.
So that was the Infrastructure Minister, Dr Michelle Hayward, talking to John there, because as we know, talks are going to continue over the festive season as to whether or not industrial action by the island's bus drivers will take place. As we heard the Minister there is an assurance that Christmas at least will not be affected, but there is no guarantee yet over New Year's Eve. It's 13 minutes past 5 now.
Manx Radio Travel, serviced by Quayside Tyres.
Nothing to report on the police pages this evening, but as we heard in the headlines with Darren, tomorrow from 9:30 until 3:30, the main road in Crosby is going to be shut between the junction of Rennie Moor Lane and the Highlander, and that is for some essential tree felling work. So that's from 9:30 till 3:30 tomorrow. All looking okay down at the airport this evening, and then with the steam packet, the latest from them is that the Manxman will be due into Douglas Harbour at around about 6:35. It's scheduled to head out again to Heysham at 7:15.
Manx Radio Travel, serviced by Quayside Tyres. Call Quayside Tyres on 664417 to book your free vehicles winter check, so your vehicle is safe for you and other road users.
So, a targeted and increasingly intelligence-led approach will be used to protect the Isle of Man's borders when the number of sailings between here and Ireland increase. So this assurance is from the Justice and Home Affairs Minister, and it was given during this week's sitting of the House of Keys. Jane Paul Wilson confirmed work had been carried out in recent years to strengthen arrangements at the ports. And she also faced a Keys question from Oncan MHK Julie Edge about how asylum seekers could use these routes.
The exact detail of security measures varies depending on the situation and is operationally sensitive. However, I can assure the Honourable Member that, as with all sailing arrivals to the island, the Constabulary, Customs and Immigration take a targeted and increasingly intelligence-led approach to security. The Isle of Man Steam Packet Company also employs private security, as referenced in a previous answer, to search vehicles and passengers boarding vessels and supports law enforcement, including with passenger manifest data. The approach seeks to address risks and ensure compliance with the Common Travel Area, which applies to the UK and Ireland.
The Irish Government are raising concerns about a direct route into Ireland via Belfast for asylum seekers, and they are currently raising concerns in the last week with regards to that and whether they would have to toughen up any of their legislation due to the changes in the UK. So, as the Isle of Man may be part of that possible route, does the Minister feel it would be appropriate for her to be speaking to her counterparts in Southern Ireland, in Ireland, with regards to what their concerns are about people being able to get through the Belfast route into Ireland? Would she commit to actually looking at that?
I think she is right that most of the work that we are doing very effectively does involve collaboration. And one of the things that I can make honourable members aware of is that the Garda in the Republic of Ireland are in the early stages of establishing links with Causeway, which is a multi-law enforcement hub for Irish sea traffic, and the Constabulary do maintain communication to assess threats and mitigation measures. So I hope that offers some assurance that there is ongoing collaboration and dialogue.
Justice and Home Affairs Minister Jane Paul Wilson making up a new word there, but she was talking in the House of Keys this week. 16 and a half minutes past 5. Well, the Manx Grand Prix Supporters Club is considering the possibility of winding down its operations as a club and a charity. It's according to a statement which has been issued by the organisation this week, as Rob Pritchard reports.
A number of reasons are being cited as to why this action is being considered, including changing objectives of the club over time, a lack of younger people getting involved in the setup, and increasing regulations around volunteering. A decision on whether to start dissolving the charity will be made at its next meeting in January 2026. This year, the MGP Supporters Club celebrated its 50th anniversary and was originally formed to support the costs of having rescue helicopters available at the Manx Grand Prix. The club says, however, this changed in 2021 when government began covering those costs. Since that time, the organisation adds it's been focusing on helping injured MGP riders and their families, as well as helping new MGP riders with entry costs since 2022. Meanwhile, should the club agree to begin the process of dissolution, it adds it will call a meeting of members to vote on the resolution and, if passed, its remaining funds could be transferred to like-minded charities. Chairman of the MGP Supporters Club, Alan Brew, concludes by apologising if this development has come as a shock to members and is thanking everyone for their support.
Rob Pritchard reporting there. You can read the MGP Supporters Club statement in full at manxradio.com, but it's really difficult, isn't it? We've talked on this programme before about the volunteering issue and people not necessarily having the time to give to such groups. So as soon as we have news about the club in the new year, we'll bring that to you. Speaking of Christmas and New Year, Douglas City Council has confirmed its operational arrangements for the festive period, and Siobhan has the details.
As Christmas Day falls on a Thursday this year, households whose refuse is normally collected that day will instead have their collection on Thursday the 27th of December. Homes scheduled for collection on Thursday the 1st of January will have theirs collected on Saturday the 3rd of January instead. All other domestic refuse collections across Douglas will continue as normal over the festive period. With regards to curbside collections, changes are as follows. Those due in round 4, that's on Thursday the 25th of December, will now be collected on Monday the 22nd of December. Round 5, which is due on Friday the 26th of December, will now be collected on Saturday the 27th instead. And round 9, which is due on Thursday the 1st of January, will be collected on Monday the 5th of January instead. Recyclable waste can also be taken to the Eastern Civic Amenity site or to the Bringbank site at the Grandstand and Tesco's Lake Road store. The Eastern Civic Amenity site will be closed on Christmas Day, Boxing Day and New Year's Day. Opening hours on all other days remain 8 a.m. to 4 p.m, with last entry at 3:45. The council will also once again run its free Christmas tree recycling initiative. It says that this annual service helps reduce waste, supports the city's sustainability goals and ensures trees are reused for the benefit of local parks, gardens and Summerhill Glen.
Siobhan reporting there. You'll be able to find out all those details as ever on the Manx Radio website. We're going to stay with Douglas City Council because a Douglas councillor says the main consideration for its new repair shop scheme is to make sure it's doing the right thing for the environment. Now, the local authorities started a 3-month trial which will see items with some reuse value collected by Northern Men in Sheds to fix. So this includes furniture, garden tools and fitness equipment. It's going to be reviewed at the end of the 3 months in February next year to determine whether the scheme should be continued, expanded or ended. Douglas Council's representative on the Eastern Civic Community site is Falk Horning.
We want to really get items reused and stuff gets thrown away. There's an impact on the environment. New items have to be created from virgin materials and that is an environmental impact. So when stuff can get repaired and reused, that doesn't have to happen. And also other people are going to benefit from that because they get their items hopefully at a cheaper price. So when they come into the civic community site, the staff are going to usually have a quick conversation with them, what they have. And if the staff notices some items that are maybe usable for repairs, they are going to ask people whether they would be happy for that to happen. The staff are then going to put those items aside in the shed and then communicate with Northern Men in Sheds live at home whether they actually want to take those items. So it might be that some of those items are going to be taken away for the repair area, but then the charity says actually it's too difficult to repair that one, that can't be done, and then the staff will put it back in the normal area. Anything that can be repaired is a real benefit for the environment, for people who can reuse those items, but also then hopefully for ratepayers because those items then don't have to go in the incinerator and there is no charge. The review is going to be undertaken by both sides, the live at home, Northern Men in Sheds and the local authorities involved. There might be some minor things that just need to be operated differently, or it could be that the trial is just not financially viable. So it is a trial period. We all hope that it will be successful, but it can't be guaranteed.
Will there be a cost to ratepayers for this?
There will be maybe a saving to ratepayers from it because everything that can be repaired then doesn't have to be disposed via other means. The only cost that could potentially be if it is like a metal item that would have had like a minor income from getting into the recycling business and getting paid for the metal. But that is really not the main consideration here. For us, it is very much about doing the right thing for the environment and society.
That is Falk Horning from Douglas City Council. Now, for many parents, Christmas is a stressful time anyway, isn't it? So imagine if your little one was having to spend the festive season in hospital. Well, this week, in a bid to make their lives a little easier, a group of contractors have donated toys and gifts to the children's ward at Nobles. Coyle Interiors from Wigan has been in charge of the refurbishment project at Marks & Spencer's in Douglas, and they've put their heads together to give something back to the community, as Chanel has been finding out.
My name's Nick, I'm the contracts manager for Coyle Interiors.
And my name's Elliot, I work for M&S.
We've had a lot of contractors that have worked on the job at Marks & Spencer's have been putting into a charity box. And on the back of that, I got in touch with Costco back in England. And they've provided all the toys at cost, and we've decided to come and make sure they are a good Christmas.
Elliot, how did M&S get involved?
So we asked the store team if they'd like to donate any toys or gifts for the children, obviously at the children's ward here, and it's lovely to see how many people have donated, which is amazing.
Has this been coordinated between both businesses, or did it just happen?
We're working with Marks & Spencer's doing the refurb, so we got this done. We've been at it about 6 weeks, so Coyle Interiors, we raised £130 on the island. Coyle Interiors have doubled that, and then we've got a local electrician who has put in another large amount of money, which has helped us do this, and it'll be ongoing.
I'm Danny McKay, I'm the senior electrician for Aries Energy Solutions.
When you found out about it, what went through your mind? Was it just an instant, yes, we want to get on board as well?
Yeah, I love kids. It's nice to give a bit to kids. It's nice to see the smiles on their faces at Christmas, so that's what it's about, isn't it, really?
Yeah, my name's Sarah Marshall. I'm the paediatric senior sister. Obviously, it's really difficult for all patients and their families when kids are in over Christmas, and presents like this can bring joy to those patients and just make the experience a little bit more pleasant for them.
And what does this mean, for the kids and the parents? Like one of the guys mentioned, sometimes you've got stresses here, so at least it alleviates that thing of you having to go out and look.
Yeah, we obviously rely on the public to be able to help us with these kind of things, and it's so nice that we've got the support from the public to make these children hospitals just this day so much brighter. And as you saw there, the little girl's face just lit up seeing all the presents, and it's also just for the parents seeing their children so happy as well. It gives them some alleviation, I suppose. yeah, it's just nice to see.
Isn't that really lovely? So Chanel was talking to Nick Patterson from Coyle Interiors, Elliot Glover from Marks & Spencer's, Danny McKay from Aries Energy Solutions, and also Sarah Marshall there, who's the ward sister at Nobles Hospital. So just about those donations that have been made to the children's ward, and you'll be able to find out much more as ever on the Manx Radio website. And I'm just filling here because it is sport time with Rob Pritchard, but he went running off at top speed to go and check something. So I don't know quite what's going on. Hopefully it's some very exciting sports news that he's going to just burst into the room and tell us all about. Otherwise, I'm really going to have to make something up. We will have breakfast tomorrow, obviously, from 6 with Ben, and all the very latest news in there. And Amy, as we heard a little bit earlier, was down around the Peel area, finding out about businesses there and how they're faring with the Christmas trade this year. Well, she's actually also been to Douglas today, so we're going to find out how things have been in the capital when it comes to Christmas trade. So that will be coming up on breakfast tomorrow as Rob bursts into the room, all calm and collected, and to bring us some very, very, I hope, exciting sports news. Rob.
Fast am I. Well, starting off, a big game is on the cards tonight in Manx football as Onken and Corinthians meet in the second of the two semi-finals of this year's Manx Carstall Railway Cup. Tonight's encounter gets underway at 7 p.m. tonight at the rearranged venue of the Bowl in Douglas. The winner will face Peel, who beat Laxey in the other last four tie just under 2 weeks ago, with the final itself currently scheduled for Boxing Day. Just trying to get my breath back here, actually.
I'm so sorry, you're okay.
It's going to be a big moment for Onken, as it's the first time in 86 years they've qualified for the competition. And the last time they managed it all the way back in 1939, they actually went on to win the tournament. Corinthians go into this evening's encounter top of the Canada Life Men's Premier League, but fell to a shock 5-0 defeat at home to Peel in the league last weekend. Entrance to tonight's match is £2 for adults and £50 for children and OAPs. Excuse me, still trying to get
£50. 50 pence.
50 pence, I should say. And the Isle of Man FA says all proceeds from the match will be donated to Craig's Heartstrong Foundation. Elsewhere, in cricket, the Isle of Man now knows which nations it'll face in the qualifying phase of the 2028 ICC Men's T20 World Cup. The Manx side will be part of the Europe pathway and have been drawn in Qualifiers C, with matches being held in Finland from the 14th to the 26th of August next year. And finally, in cycling, dates have been confirmed for the New Look Grand Fondo Isle of Man for 2026. It'll take place on the 25th and 26th of July next year.
Rob, go and have a lie down. Thank you very much indeed. That is all from Update this evening. Thank you for your company as ever. You can find out all the details on the Manx Radio website about the stories we've been talking about. Coming up next, it's Spotlight with Howard Kane, the final one of the year, brought to you by the Isle of Man Arts Council, talking about Panto, among other things. Chris Kinney's here at 6 with Greatest Hits. It's 9, it's Country Roads with Andy Wint. And then Dave will be with you with After Hours from 10. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.